So previously in part 1, Dimitri and Laura went off to go get some magical stones in this magical world. And so Alex and Melissa have their own part in the story. They have their own magical powers, and they're going to be going on their own magical adventure. Alex is about a year older than that. He doesn't ride the bus. He graduated last year. He's just waiting around for them to graduate so that they can all go to college together. Melissa is Laura's best friend, and she doesn't like Dimitri at all. She doesn't think Dimitri is good enough for Laura. Laura's her best friend, and Alex and Melissa are like, I don't know, they're pirates, I got my stone, let's just go. Welcome to this episode of the Spellbound Saga. My name is Zach, and today we're going to be talking about the water stone and how Alex was the one to obtain it with his water powers. I'm also going to tell you a little bit about what was going on with Murdo. Since his girlfriend was kidnapped, Mist got away with Huba and kidnapped her. Anisha told Mist about this factory that exists out in the fields outside of New Heaton. There was this factory at one point in time where these machines called mecha loggers would cut down trees. But it was abandoned and it has been just sitting out of use for years. Anisha tells Mist that he needs to go activate this factory because it's going to cause total chaos. Anisha had this plan to have Mist activate the factory. Since she's not the queen anymore, her plans weren't able to be followed out as she expected. She ran away and escaped to the Upapi Island where we saw her in the last episode. In this episode, we're going to find out what happened to her. Anisha had Mist go there and activate the factory once again so that the machines will just cut down all the trees throughout all of the forest. So now Murdo goes to this factory looking for Mist. Murdo finds them and the factory, but they've gotten away, and he's got to try to figure out how to turn all these machines off because they're just running wild all throughout the fields, chopping down all these trees. They're these giant tank machines with axes, cutting down trees for no reason. At this point in the story, we're back with Alex and Melissa. They're going back to the Upapi Island, even though Melissa had already gained her lava stone. The tree still asks Melissa, do you still want to continue on this adventure? I'll give you the half of the lava stone that would go to Earth. You'll have all of its abilities. Melissa's not interested in all the magic and stuff. She wants to continue on the adventure, but she doesn't want any of the magic stuff involved with it. She's been having a lot of fun on the cruise, on the resort island, so she just wants to go back to that. And Alex is going to go too, because he still needs to get his stone. So when Alex and Melissa reappear on Upapi Island, the Losa Vali is coming back to pick them up. Since the pirates attacked, everyone wants to leave the island now since they don't feel safe there. All of these people are being picked up by the ship again because it's coming early. They're going to take a longer trip around over to Springdale. The next stop is Springdale, where there's going to be a festival going on. In fact, it already started like a day or two ago. They were going to be arriving in the middle of it. Since they're going a few days earlier than they expected, they're going to be there near the beginning of the festival. And Alex and Melissa are going to be rejoining Hizzo back on the Losa Vali. They have their cruise ship room. They got rooms on the cruise ship. They find that guy that can dance and make light with his footsteps again. In the middle of the cruise, Molino comes to Alex again when he's alone and says, hey, you got to get the water stone. Like, we're in the middle of the sea. This is where the water stone is. I need you to go into the water and find it. I don't know where exactly underwater it is, but it's somewhere in the middle of the ocean. You're at the point now on the ship, on the cruise ship, in the middle of the sea. Just dive down and find it. So since Alex has been surfing around on the island, Alex learned how to surf a little bit. He's been learning his water powers a little bit more. He feels more comfortable about diving down into the water again. This time he swims around, and deep down under the water there's something he wasn't expecting. There's this giant creature with tentacles, with claws at the end of them, and on its back is this shell that's so big it's the size of a city. It used to be a city. It was like their version of Atlantis, this mythical underwater city that may have existed at one point in time. Well, since every stone has been in a city somewhere relating to their element, the water stone used to be in a city underwater. But this creature came years ago and took the city as a shell on its back. And inside of the shell is the city, where you're able to look out, and there's these bubbled out windows for you to view the underwater fish. It's got like 1,000 eyes on the end of these long spindly veins. It's so disgusting and it's so freaky, so Alex starts swimming away from it, but a current like swoops him in. It's sucking him in. It wants to eat him, but not just eat him. It's putting him in the shell to save him for later. So Alex wakes up in this like disgusting wet tunnel. He can barely see much besides the algae growing along the sides of the tunnel. It's splitting off into different paths, and there's a lot of light coming from one of the directions, so he starts walking in that direction, and he hears something coming from another direction, and it's like a living skeleton, some sort of disgusting zombie creature just coming at him through the tunnel, so he starts running out of it. And out of the other end of the tunnel where the light was coming through, he sees the city that's underwater. It's like destroyed. He knows nothing of this world or its version of Atlantis. He just views it as Atlantis in this world, in a shell, being on the back of this disgusting creature with tentacles and claws at the end of its tentacles. Inside the shell, he sees a bunch of ships wrecked, and one of the ships is the pirate ship that Anisha left the island in. No one knows what happened to her. Alex doesn't recognize the ship as the pirate ship, but it is supposed to be that pirate ship, as if to say that Anisha was defending the island from the pirates, and when the pirates sailed away, the kraken-like beast came up out of the sea, chomped up their ship, and now she's possibly dead on that ship along with all the crew of pirates. So Alex sees this, and the wreckage of a city where there's like these houses that were built inside of the shell. He has no time to take a look around. It is just a rubble mess of just ruined ancient architecture, and skeletons and zombies are coming at him through all of the tunnels. And there's all kinds of like disgusting other water creatures down here trying to like eat him. So he's running away from these creatures as he's like making his way towards like the bottom. So Alex is running away from all these like zombies and skeletons that are chasing him through the inside of this old ancient city. So as he's running away from the skeletons and the zombies, he comes up to one of these doors that looks like one of these. As soon as he like backs up to it and puts his hand on it, it disappears, and inside is the water stone. Lucky for him, he goes inside and reaches for it as zombies and skeletons are like making their way towards the doorway that he just opened. It's not closing, it's like stuck or something. Because it's so old, it's not gonna work. Just in time, Molino appears. And Alex is screaming, backing up, holding the water stone, and Molino's like, why did this have to happen right now? Molino teleports him away with the time gun, teleports himself away right before the skeletons and zombies would have been grabbing them up. And they reappear in front of the Luinishi tree, the tree of life. And it takes the water stone from Alex, but Alex and Molino are not the only people there in front of the Luinishi tree. There's someone there that Alex recognizes. It's Shannon from the bus. She's the goth chick that sits in the back listening to her headphones and never really talks to any of them. She has a couple of classes with them, but since Alex has graduated, he doesn't see her so much. Her family owns a nursery at the beginning of the subdivision in which they all live in. Her parents own it and she maintains it. There's a bunch of plants there. It turns out she's the plant chosen. The tree chose her first. And she'll be the next one to get her stone. This whole time that Alex, Dimitri, Laura, and Melissa have been going to the other world and back, collecting their stones, Shannon was the original chosen of all of them. And the tree has been having her come to this other world and practice her plant magic. And as it turns out, she's having some trouble on Earth at the nursery. Turns out all of her plants are getting sick and dying. She wants to do something about it, and maybe you'll find out in the next episode. Thank you very much for joining me. Maybe I'll see you then. For no reason. Do you want to keep... No. They heard there were a pirate... Yeah. this creature, or its version of the Atlantis, their version of the Atlantis. Anisha put, no, it looks like one of the doors that, you know, holds, anyway, where there's, he's stumbling along everything. No. So, Alex shoots, no, Molino gets